Hi all, Rick here with a video exploring one of Star Trek's myriad of alternate timelines, how it came about and just what its differences are. This time looking into the episode Parallels to explore one of the more featured timelines where Riker was captain of the Enterprise. Now, with all the permutations of Worf crossing and swapping over, it's clear that at several points this timeline is swapped out for one with differences. However, some events remain the same overall, with Captain Riker clearly helping another Worf sort out this mystery alongside Prime Reality Worf at the same time. This is unsurprising, as at least 285,000 Enterprise vessels appear at the end of the episode, which shows us that at least that many had been able to retrace Worf's journey and steps to the quantum reality fissure, with the goal of rectifying the disruption. So, one novel, Headlong Flight, shows us a potential point of divergence, this being in 2364, when the Enterprise D encountered Armus. Here, Lieutenant Natasha Yar survived her encounter with the evil Coalescence. This means that Worf had no reason to transfer from the Command Division to take over as head of security. Therefore he remains the tactical officer but continues on the career ladder of advancement. In 2366, as the Starfleet uniform was updated, they also implemented a new comm badge that combined rank insignia and the Delta logo. Retroactively, you can say this was inspired by the 2250s design as seen in Discovery, or that it was floated as an idea in the Prime timeline but ultimately rejected in favour of maintaining the current badge. The new comm badge displayed 4 bars behind the design, with golden bars mirroring rank and blacked out bars acting as null, mirroring the pips on the collar. A following difference to the Enterprise's staff was that Beverly Crusher remained as the head of Starfleet Medical in 2367, a position she only took for a year in the Prime reality, and she had returned by this juncture. This means that Dr. Catherine Pulaski was still the Chief Medical Officer. Wesley Crusher was also aboard, serving as a civilian specialist and advisor, having already made the decision not to attempt Starfleet Academy. It's unknown if Commander Shelby was transferred to the Enterprise as part of the anti-Borg operations, but either way, she did not remain. When the Battle of Wolf 359 unfolded, Captain Picard was taken by the Borg, as it was in the Prime timeline. However, in this instance, the rescue effort failed. One of 2 outcomes is possible. Either the weapon that was designed by Shelby to attack the Borg cube worked as intended when Riker gave the order to fire, or when rescued, Pulaski lacked the know-how to de-assimilate Picard. It's the former option that is presented in the story The Embrace of Cold Architects. Thanks to this, Commander Riker is promoted to captain and given the Enterprise D. The same story goes on to have Data attempt to create Lal once again, but this time, thanks to the delay in events, it coincides with the meeting of Dr. Noonien Soong. With Soong's help, Data is able to save Lal's life and prevent the errors that took her in the Prime timeline. This, however, reignites the debates within the Federation as to the rights of androids and artificial life, leading to the Daystrom Institute pressuring Riker to turn over Data and Lal with the backing of Admiral Haftel in 2367. Alongside this, there is mounting pressure from the Cardassians, with it looking more and more likely that there will be a follow-up to the Border Wars. There is not a confirmation that this timeline is the same as the one depicted in Parallels, but if it is, then several more things happen in the interim, and I'm going to continue assuming this is the case, or it's a very short video. In the continued aftermath of Wolf 359, the Enterprise D is taken in for extensive repair and refit. In this reality, this included the addition of a new main systems display unit behind the tactical station, and a new view screen module. It looks like these were intended upgrades for the Galaxy class at some point, as the Galaxy X, as seen in the nullified All Good Things Future, also features some of these changes. These changes did not occur in the Prime timeline anyway, with the bridge instead receiving additional stations just before the Enterprise crashed on Veridian 3. In this year, Worf and Troi begin a romantic relationship, with Worf checking in with Riker as to how this would make him feel, and he offers his blessing. It looks like the loss of Picard encourages Wesley to make a new attempt at Starfleet Academy, and rather he seems to apply himself on the tactical and security path. Beverly Crusher ends her tenure at Starfleet Medical and returns to the Enterprise D, while presumably Lieutenant Yar moves to a new posting. We can assume that events involving Data and Lal have led him to remain in the second officer position, with Worf being promoted to Commander and given the position of Executive Officer, overtaking the android. Within the year, Troi and Worf's first child is born, Eric Christopher, and in 2368, their daughter Shannara follows. She's probably good with swords. They took the last names Rozhenko. However, it is apparent from the episode that Alexander does not exist, or if he does, Worf is unaware of him. This could be the case, as Prime Timeline Worf only learned of him in 2367, and if Kayla learned Worf was now married, then she may have opted to keep Alexander secret. On the bigger picture, the rising hostilities with Cardassia seem to have occupied both the Cardassian Empire and the Federation. With potential war on the horizon, the Cardassian Union, I'm using Empire and Union interchangeably here, was more determined to keep its gains in its annexed territory. This forced Bajor into taking things into their own hands, with increasing extremism and fervour against their oppressors. In 2369, the Cardassian Empire withdrew from Bajor in a worse off state than they did in the Prime timeline, and the Bajorans were relentless in pushing their hard-won advantage. They do not stop at liberating their home system and continue to apply their tactics in ever-increasing raids into Cardassian territory. Thanks to this offensive posture, the Provisional Government also does not reach out to the Federation for protection or aid. This leads Cardassia to reach out to the Federation for help instead in a flip of the script, as the Bajorans continue to become ever more militant against any outsiders. It's likely that groups such as the Circle, or the Alliance for Global Unity, begin to take power in Bajor without the Federation's aid in rebuilding. No Starfleet help means no Deep Space Nine, which means the Circle's grab for power, backed by Win Adami and led by Minister Jar Issa, probably emerged victorious as Bajor's governing power. By 2370, there were Cardassian ensigns serving on the Enterprise, showing that they had likely transferred into Starfleet as part of an exchange and alliance against the hostilities of Bajor. Or it's a one-off dude. Wesley Crusher graduates from Starfleet Academy, and being the genius he is rapidly granted the rank of lieutenant and requested for the Enterprise, where he operates the tactical position as a member of the bridge crew. For all the grief Wesley gets, imagine if he had turned his intellect towards tactics and more military matters. Thank God Prime Wesley was more interested in science and didn't lose a second father figure, as this one had to the Borg. And there we have it. A universe is created where the Bajorans are rising as a genuine threat to Starfleet, becoming ever more belligerent, while the Cardassian Union is effectively humbled into asking for Federation assistance and now plays nice. Meanwhile, Riker is in command of the Enterprise with Worf as number 1. Data's in hot water with Daystrom and distrusted by Starfleet, the Cardassians on the bridge, and Deanna married to Worf. Judging from some of the other realms we see, this one got off easy and is familiar enough to not be completely unrecognisable. It seems that despite the tensions, Starfleet still maintains exploration and diplomacy as its key principles, so not too dark. Sure, in this timeline Picard is dead, but Wolf 359 was likely not as great a loss, and we simply have Bajor instead of Cardassia being the issue. It's an interesting flip, And we can see how things might continue to diverge in time, with the initial split being in 2364 or early 2367, depending on the sourcebook. Thanks for watching this breakdown of the universe where Riker was captain from Parallels. I've been Rick, and wait, I don't remember making this video. Where's my cooking channel? Certifiably ingredients.